Hey y'all, in this lesson we are going to be looking at solving two-step equations. Our I can statement is I can solve an equation with two steps, and our essential question is how do you solve an equation? Some information, I've underlined the things you need to write down, but an equation is something that says two things are equal. Equations are statements that say this equals that. And equations always have an equal sign, which you should already know, looks like this with two bars. The point is that there is a difference between equations and expressions. Expressions can be evaluated but not solved. Equations will be solved to get a value. So examples of equations include x plus 2 equals 6, negative 4x plus 9 equals 33, or 1/2 x equals 5. When we solve equations, we are trying to find the value that we can substitute in for the variable to make the statement true. So what plus 2 is 6? What times negative 4, then add 9 is 33. Half of what is 5? To solve equations, we have to get the variable by itself. So we need to have just x equals. And we do this through inverse operations. Please make sure you've written down all of the information here. So in our example, we are going to solve the following for x. 2x minus 5 equals 10. A two-step equation is simply one that requires you to do two inverse operations in order to solve it. This is why we call it a two-step equation. We can organize this with what we call a do or undo table, or do/undo table. We want to remember that the equation can be read as a number, that's x, a number multiplied by 2 and then subtract 5 is 10. So we set up our table like this. One side is our do column, what the equation is doing to x, in this case because we said a number multiplied by 2 and then subtract 5. Then we set up our undo side, which is the opposite, the inverse operation. So the opposite of multiply is to divide. So we're filling in the undo side. The opposite of subtract is to add. And we keep the same number, add 5, divide by 2. Now, it's important to note that because when we undo something, we work backwards, we're going to perform the undo column backwards. So we're going to start from the bottom and go up. To solve our original equation, 2x minus 5 equals 10, we are going to need to add 5 and then divide by 2 because we're going from the bottom up. Finally, remember to keep everything balanced. What we do on the left, we have to do on the right. So solving the equation will look something like this. We have 2x minus 5 equals 10. If you think about this from our mystery bags, you could think about it as 2 mystery bags and negative 5 coins is the same as 10 coins. Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the coins so that we have all of the coins on one side. To get rid of the coins on the left, we need to add the 5 coins. That's why we are adding first. We'll be left with 2x equals 15 because 10 plus 5 is 15. Then we divide by 2. We are splitting those coins into 2 bags. So we divide by 2 and we get that x equals 7.5 because 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. So again, 2 steps in order to complete this equation. And we did it by doing the do and undo table, listing out what is done to x, and then writing what is the opposite of that. Then we perform it in the order of the bottom thing first, working our way up to the top. Showing each step and the result from each step as we go. So to summarize, in order to solve an equation, We determine what is done to the variable. Then we determine the inverse operations, and we undo the equation by performing the inverse operations in reverse order. Your next steps are to complete your 3.3b practice. You have 3 problems to work on to try this out. Don't forget to submit your notes as well as a picture of your practice. And once you are ready, come and take the 3.3 mastery check. Good luck as you begin your work, and I'll see you in the next lesson.